And welcome to another episode of the Prince Hall Think Tank, a monthly conversation amongst Prince Hall Freemasons where we discuss topics relative to craft masonry. My name is Brother Antonio Caffey, and I'm a very proud past master of St. Mark's Lodge number 7, which is located in Columbus, Ohio, where Brother Sean Searcy serves as worshipful master. The lodge was chartered in 1852 and holds a charter by the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Ohio, where currently the Honorable Chester C. Christie serves as Grand Master. Before I let the other brothers introduce themselves, I would like to state that the views and opinions that are expressed by us tonight in no way reflect the views and opinions of the Grand Lodges and lodges in which we hold membership in. Also, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them on our Facebook page or by using the chat option on YouTube. And if we have any time at the end of the show, as always, we'll be sure to answer some of them. Before I let the other brothers introduce themselves, I'll ask that you keep Brother Curtis Black and his family in your prayers. They had a death in the family today, so please, again, keep that good brother in your thoughts and in your prayers. At this time, I'll let the other brothers introduce themselves, starting with Brother Morgan.
Good evening, everybody. This is James R. Morgan III coming to you from the nation's capital of Washington.
Brother Morgan, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. This is James Morgan coming to you from our nation's capital, under the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of D.C., where I'm a past master of Corinthian Lodge number 18, where the Honorable Quincy G. Gant is serving as our Most Worshipful Grand Master. And all is well here in Prince Hall Freemasonry in D.C., and I'm so happy to be back celebrating 5 years of the Prince Hall Think Tank with my good brothers here. And I'm also excited because my hometown football team, the New York Giants, we did some damage today on the football field. So shout out to the New York Giants as well, because even though DC is on my dues card, New Jersey is on my birth certificate, and yes, the Giants do play in New Jersey.
Thank you, Brother Gillarm.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brother Dave Gillarm. I'm a past master of Mount Pisgah Lodge, number 53, located in Columbus, Georgia, where Christopher Gainey serves as our worshipful master. And I also have the pleasure of serving as the worshipful grand historian for the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Georgia, where the Honorable Corey D. Shackelford Sr. serves as our 18th Grand Master. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm glad to be back, and hope you all enjoy the show.
All right. And joining us for our 5-year anniversary show, Blast from the Past, Brother Preston Collins Jr. Brother Collins.
I feel like I'm about to have a title fight or something.
Right.
Greetings to everyone. As Brother Caffey stated, my name is Preston Collins Jr. I am the current worshipful master of Nova Caesarea Harmony Lodge number 2, located in Miamitown, Ohio, and on the rolls of the Grand Lodge of Ohio, FNAM, where Most Worshipful Brother Jess Rains serves as our Grand Master. I'm here, 5-year anniversary. I'm honored to have been invited back on the show. It's good to see all of you brothers again, and I thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you, good brother. And we're trying to get Brother Ken Collins on as well, because as we advertise, and as I just stated, and as Brother Collins just stated as well, we're celebrating our 5 years tonight. So as the great R&B band Tony once said, it's our anniversary. So we just wanted to get the crew together. 5 years is a long time, and I'm indebted to these brothers for all the work they've done. It is, like I said, I think a milestone in our history, as well as Prince Hall history and Masonic history in general. So just to think, 5 years ago tonight, we all came together for the first time, and at that time we were just coming together just to commemorate the granting of the charter to African Lodge 459 in 1784. And this was a new project. for all of us. There were a few, if I can remember correctly, there were a few technical difficulties during that night because we were trying to figure everything out. A lot of feedback coming through the microphones and the headphones and all that. A little bit of nervousness, but we started something that evening that I feel has really lifted Masonic education and research within the craft. The Prince Hall think tank, it was born that evening. So we discussed many topics, provided many great guests the opportunity to share their research, and we raised the bar, I believe, a little bit. So tonight I'm lucky to have the brothers that truly have made this venture possible. I call them my personal Wu-Tang clan of Masonic research and education, and I've accepted the fact that due to my greatness, I'm the old dirty bastard. So, thank you, brothers, for being my Wu-Tang clan. All right. So, good evening, brothers, and good evening to all of our viewers as well. So tonight we're just going to talk. We're just going to discuss about the show, favorite episodes, favorite guests. All of our guests have been our favorite, but just those ones that we can recall some of the things that they spoke about, and also we're going to talk about, I think most importantly, something that we talked about on our first show, the importance of this evening and this night, and what, from a personal perspective, what that charter and what that started means to each of us. So without further ado, brothers, and always, please feel free to chime in, ask your questions, and different things like that. And like I said, we'll get it on if we can. So brothers, we'll open up to you, favorite episodes. We have a lot. We have a very large library online. It's funny, my daughter told me a few months ago, she said some of her friends were on YouTube and they saw, he's like, Daddy, they saw you and your friends and they really think you're really smart. And I had to ask him, like, well, you're saying that like I'm not, like you're surprised. So I didn't know how to take that, but it was just amazing that like we have all of this plethora of information online that will last hopefully forever, that people will be able to see us, and our guests and everything. So,
well, Brother Caffey, you do realize that children don't realize how smart their parents are until they're in their like 30s or 40s, or when they have their own children. I actually 10 days ago, I actually hit the milestone of 30 years old on September 19th. And now certain things that my mother and father have been saying to me for years, and my step-parents have been saying to me for years, is just now like sinking in. Yeah. So give her some time. Give her some time. She'll catch on eventually.
Right. So, brothers, favorite episodes. What jumps off at you?
Oh man. I got three, like off top. Man, I got so many. But I think my top one is the Underground Railroad, Prince Hall Freemasonry's Compass to Freedom. I mean, that one was a dope one. When you talk about how many of our members were involved in Underground Railroad, and how many, if I remember, were former slaves. I mean, that one was deep. I think my second one would be Sons of Liberty. Prince Hall Freemasonry's Defenders of the Craft, because we got so many brothers that's military right now. And then the interviews and the experiences. I know, like Brother Collins was raised in the Prince Hall Lodge in Korea, and that experience is a lot different than getting raised in maybe like a lodge in the country. And then you have the lodges that's in active combat zones. So that one was a pretty dope one, man. And we had so many great military brothers that chimed in. And I think lastly will be Twin Pillars, from African Lodge to the AME Church. Like when she can start seeing how deep the AME Church and Prince Hall Masonry is together. The history is it's like side by side. So all three of them are some of my favorites. And with the military, when me and James were just talking about that a couple of days ago, maybe doing a second portion where we talk about specifically another battle. So, and those three are my favorites.
Mm.
Okay. I would say that Prince Hall in the AME Church episode really sticks out to me. The Twin Pillars, because it really showed how connected we are in this organization and us as individuals. If you go back and check that episode out, which I believe that was episode number 12, way back in August of 2016. One of the things that I found, I mean, we always go back and forth about this online, me and Dave, is that my third great grandfather and Dave, who was a Prince Hall Mason, and Dave's first worshipful master, not only did they know each other, but we found documentation where they actually had a argument. and so that really, we joke about it all the time, between ourselves, but it really showed me like how real the history of this organization is, and the real connections that we have that sometimes you may not even be aware of in an organization as old as this. And I mean, outside of maybe your religious affiliations, where do you find the type of stories and history of predominantly African American men in an institutional way? So I really that episode always is gonna mean something special to me. Honestly, I would say, I mean, I've loved all the episodes. I gotta also make sure that I mention when we had Brother Doug Evans come on and talk about historically Black colleges and universities. I was my jaw dropped, hearing him give all the history of especially dealing with Morehouse College and some of the other universities down in that area. I highly encourage, and I think we're still kind of in the back to school season, right? If you've got a young person who is in high school age or somewhere thereabouts, you may want to sit them down and have them check that out, not just from the Masonic aspect, but just understand the importance of our historically Black colleges and universities. I think that is very important, and definitely give a shout out to Brother Doug Evans for that. Lastly, I hate to be this person, but I'm going to have to be. The episode that we did last December on my book, The Lost Empire, which I happen to have right here. That episode really meant a lot to me, not just because it was my first book out, but because I can't stress this enough, the support that I got from the brothers here on the Prince Hall think tank as I was writing the questions, the comments, hey, did you think about this? Hey, you might want to rewrite that. It really helped make it a better situation for me. And then the other aspect is, unfortunately, sometimes people are successful and doing something as a group, and then one person goes out and does something on their own, and it causes tension or friction and things of that nature. And that never ever once happened with these brothers here. It's been nothing but love and support. And I can't tell you how great it is as an author to be respected by people who I consider to be my peers and my teachers and mentors. So I really want to thank you guys so much for that, because without you guys, I don't know that this book would have been as successful as it has been. So thank you.
Brother Collins.
Well, for me, there are two that stick out in my mind more than anything else. I know anybody who's watching that really knows me knows that I'm about to say that my favorite episode was Clandestine Masonry, the greatest lie ever told. And that's for more personal reasons, because of the way that I feel about clandestine organizations personally. But also on top of that, that the work that I did and the research that I did for that particular episode grew into a presentation that I've traveled all over the state of Ohio and given about clandestine organizations that operate within this state. So, and to piggyback off of what Brother Gillarm was saying, my second favorite one has to be the one about the Underground Railroad. I always knew that Prince Hall Masonry played a very big role in the Underground Railroad, but I never realized exactly how deep that role was until we did that episode. If I would have to pick a third, I would think it would have to be the one about the one where we had Most Worshipful Brother Curtis, the Grand Master of Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Texas. I always enjoy speaking to Grandmaster Curtis. I always enjoy learning from Grandmaster Curtis. So those are my three favorites.
All right. Actually, I'm gonna. Well, a couple things. One, I think we talk about this too. The the forces of nature when the sisters took over and did that show. That was special for a number of reasons, because we've been hearing like for years, like when y'all gonna have the sisters on, when y'all gonna have the sisters on, and and then we had to one episode Sister Victoria on at once, but then when we just it was interesting when we were having a conversation, and when we said like what, I think our schedules, all of our schedules had sometimes I won't be able to be on. I think Brother Gillon and Brother Morgan, they're no matter what, they're on it. They're on it. But something happened where I think we only one of us may have only been able to be on, and we said, what, this would be a perfect time to not only have another sister on, but to have multiple sisters on. And then we said, what, let's let them run the whole show. And we got a lot of great feedback on that particular episode. Just besides the knowledge that they were able to impart, and they were all excited to do it, and it really meant a lot for me to and I think all of us to be able to give them that platform to share their knowledge as well. So as I always say, because sometimes people ask, when y'all gonna have the sister on, I'm always pushing for that. There is room for other shows as well, and I would love for a female version or an Eastern Star version of the Think Tank, to take off and not just be an episode here or an episode there, to to showcase their talents as well. But one of the things that besides I get something out of all the episodes, but briefly I just want to talk about one thing that I'm really passionate about too, and that's when we are designing the flyers for the episode to put out there to everyone, because I'm a real big, I think I may have been like a marketing person in a previous life or something. I have a strong belief in just image and putting forth an image and letting that image tell the story. So when I'm trying to design a flyer and I'm getting ideas from the brothers about, okay, what's the show about? What are some of the things you want to cover? And then I try to take all of that and then craft a flyer around that. And I'll say this, I know the flyer is correct and right when Brother Morgan gives an okay. Because, all the other brothers, okay, yeah, that's good. Brother Morgan, he has that keen eye. And they'll be like, no, we need to do this. We need to do that. And for me, though, I need that, and I like that, so I'll go back and I'll say, okay. Now there are a few occasions where I'm like, Brother Morgan, come on, bro. We can, this is good. We can put this out. But I think it's just, I like taking their ideas and what they're doing in regards to research and what they're going to put forth to, come up with some of the designs for the flyers, like when we were talking about African-American fraternal orders, and I wanted to get some photos in there of, we're all used to seeing the usual old photos, but I really wanted to try to find some that folks haven't seen before of other fraternal orders and put that in there just to get everyone thinking, because that's also the goal as well with the flyer, to get people thinking about the information that we're going to present on the next episode. I love when we're able to showcase the particular histories of individual Grand Lodges, because then that allows me to go in and get images not only relative to the craft in that state, but also the state, in and of itself. So that I love, it's a stress reliever for me sometimes, like to do these designs. And anytime we deal with like the 3/5 Brotherhood, race and American masonry, how we had that sign, the cross signs of racism and brotherhood, just to get brothers thinking about hey, this is some serious matters that they're going to discuss and put forth this information as the show goes on. So thank you for the kind words that you always send us in regards to those advertisements.
And if I can jump in just real quick. Definitely. And say that one, I think that you always do great flyers. And I knew you were going to say something about me, because I always do say something. I was going. Well, we're going to clear the air.
That's right, good, bro.
Right. But I think that's important. But the other aspect thing I wanted to make sure I said too, talking about that force of nature episode, for years, I've always said, you know, when people ask me about OES history and whatnot and things dealing with the sisters, I always have said that I never felt comfortable or like it was my job as a man to write the story of African American women. I think it's more powerful and more, I guess I don't want to say legitimate, but it's more truthful than when it comes from them. You know, because sisters have their own voice and their own unique way of looking at things. And so I think that episode is very important also. And I've also always said that whenever I found sisters, especially ones that were younger than myself, that wanted to do this type of work for our organization or similar type of work, that I would always be one of the first people to lend a helping hand. And I want to definitely make sure I give a shout out to Sister Darnisha Pickett. If you don't know who she is, go back and check that episode. Darnisha has been a real inspiration to me. She is, I know, I don't want to put her age out there, but I think she's about 24, 25. But this sister is amazing at research and whatnot, and her writing and everything like that. And you know, she really has been an inspiration to me. Like the same way people looked at me, like when we started this show, I think I was like 24, maybe I just turned 25, probably. You know, at the time. Now I understand how people would look at me at that time. Now I'm looking at her like, dang, she's brilliant and she's so young. So definitely want to give a major shout out to Sister Pickett. I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, man. I wholeheartedly agree. Like when she first started coming on the scene and start posting stuff about, you know, notable females and stuff, like, you know, that really don't happen a lot. I mean, you always hear about those brothers who did a lot of stuff, but whether in the forefront or behind the scenes, but you hardly ever hear about females like the same ones get brought up: Rosa Parks, Selena Butler. I mean, that's it, and then that's the end of the story. But she brought, I mean, all of them. Victoria with Sue Brown, Alexis President, man, they were killing it. But I think another good thing that we did, I saw it in the comments, like when we were brainstorming behind the scenes, and we came up with the Young Leaders miniseries. I think that kind of, a lot of brothers could relate to that, being young and being confused, you know, or not really confused, being upset in the meetings when you became a Mason. You expected all these great things. You probably seen all these Masons, you know, in your community, and now you're sitting in a lodge meeting for 3 hours, and all you talk about is how much money you don't have and what fish you're gonna fry the next fish fry. And like when you feel like you're presenting ideas and you're getting shot down. So I'm paying my money. I'm getting a pocket full of tickets. Like where do I go from here? But I think that series would, you know, allow brothers to vent and, you know, give new ideas. Then it was kind of refreshing seeing young grandmasters. So I think that was pretty dope.
Absolutely. Hey, as a housekeeping thing, I want to let the viewers know that we have recently changed our streaming platform, and so now we are actually able to post your comments live on the video feed. So you may see us doing that from time to time. I do want to make sure that we acknowledge some of the folks that are on here tonight as well. We've got Brother Rough Boss One said, but he loves seeing Brother Jack, and the Holy Royal Arch Mason episode was a good one as well. So thank you, Rough Boss One.
Yeah, and it's interesting with that Young Leaders episode or the miniseries we had, and I had this conversation with one of my past masters. He was a brother that came in around the same time that I did, and either we'll be in a meeting or we'll just be talking, and we have to check ourselves because at one point in time, like we were the young brothers in the craft. And as we've been in for this amount of time now, and if someone gets up and presents something or has an idea, I don't know if it's age or something to where it's like that, you know. I never wanted to be, well, back in my day, we did it this way. I didn't ever want to be one of those brothers, but I think you really have to be conscious of that because you can easily, I found that you can easily fade into that, you know. So unless you keep it at the forefront of your mind, and I think someone actually mentioned that during one of those episodes, that, you know, it's easy for you to slip into that mindset of the way we did it and the way we, you know, used to. And I always equate it to, you know, sometimes you'll have the argument as far as communication and how some brothers like to communicate more via text or email than, you know, the old letters and phone calls or whatever. And I always say, like, you know what, at one point in time, there was probably an argument in a lodge meeting about switching from the printing press to just, you know, the typewriter or something, like, you know, it's you know, it's just part of when you bring in different ages of you know, and experiences of people, and just trying to, and I like, that's why masonry is incredible, because you just get that hodgepodge of folks, and it's like, okay, look, you know, we may not have a lot in common, but we have this common bond of this experience that we went through to come in, that should buy us enough time to get to know each other, so that then we can form this perfect union, if you will, and make it happen. So yeah, I think all of that stuff comes out in those type of episodes, and you can tell where, you know, we'll get a good conversation going because we'll have a lot of comments, and people are really feeling it, you know, because it touches, you know, like James said, it touches a lot of folks because they've experienced that.
Yeah, brother CJ Raymond says, congratulations on this wonderful 5-year milestone. Amazing accomplishment. Thank you, brother Raymond, for your support as well. And we got a lot of love going on in the chat room, y'all.
Yeah. So brothers, you know, I'm sorry, go ahead, brother.
I'm thinking like just doing this, and man, the amount of love that we get from brothers everywhere, I mean, it still blows me away. And one of the things that I know, it always sticks with me. I was in Anchorage, Alaska. No, sorry, Fairbanks. And I went to the local district's St. John's Day. And I'm getting out of the car with one of my coworkers. And as I'm walking up to the brothers, I never forget, Worship Master Courtney Boss knew who I was as soon as I stepped out of the vehicle. And that kind of just blew me away. I mean, he knew who I was just from the think tank. And, you know, we had these, when we started this, you know, we didn't never picture it would get to the levels that it is now. And when that stuff happens, you know, it makes me become a little bit more humble. So I know brothers are truly appreciating, you know, what we're doing. And we're not getting paid to do this. We spend a whole lot of time researching and putting in work, phone calls, everything, trying to put together a show. So I'm just thankful for everybody, man. This is awesome experience.
Yeah, and part of that experience, and a lot of our shows, you know, we just spoke on some of it, is our guests. You know, we've had a lot of folks on our shows over the years, you know, because one of our goals was to, you know, have a platform or create a platform, not just for us, but for other folks as well, to come on and present their research. So, you know, who are some of you? I've seen some in the chat, you know, room already, but who are some of your memorable guests, you know, that have been on the show, guys?
Oh man, we've had so many. I know we're getting so many comments in the darn chat room, but I know Sister Hackett from California mentioned. Oh, here we go. Right here is a comment. Like the Light Out of Darkness episode with Brother Marlon Honeywell from Florida. She said it was absolutely amazing. So shout out to Brother Marlon Honeywell and Sister Hackett, because she's always on. And by the way, I'm sorry, Dave, I'm gonna let you go. By the way, I as much as I love talking about our guests, our chatters, you guys always support us. We have some people are in and out, but there are some people who are here every week or every month. And Sister Hackett is definitely one of them. I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
No, I was great. Like favorite guest, well, I guess memorable guest. And we had so many, but Marlon is a whole different level, man. Every time we present together, like last year we presented together at United Spring Council, and we're gonna do it again this coming up weekend. And between him and Eric, it's like I'm watching like Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, you know, some of the greats doing it. Like them cats are awesome, man. And anytime, like I wouldn't mind just hearing brother Honeywell speak on a regular basis, because that dude is dope, and I'll listen to that show multiple times. He's definitely one of my most favorite ones, and he's my third classmate.
Brother Collins, what about you?
Well, I think I hinted to it earlier. I would say my absolute favorite guest that we had to have been Grandmaster Curtis out of Texas.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
Grandmaster Curtis, for as long as I've been doing this, he's always come across to me as one of the most down, like laid back and approachable grandmasters that you would meet. You know, not saying that the majority of them are not, but it's just something about Grandmaster Curtis where he makes you feel a sense of comfort when you're talking to him. You know, and I think my second favorite guest that we had on would probably, I got to think about that one for a minute, but I know more than anything, like I said, the episode when we had Grandmaster Curtis on here and the wisdom that he imparted upon us. And I guess I would also have to say, even though I was having technical difficulties during that episode, when we had Grandmaster Hawkins on the show, that
Mhm.
I really enjoyed that show as well.
Mm.
Yeah. I also
More?
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that we had two past grandmasters from the great Garden State of New Jersey,
Yeah.
and past grandmaster Shelton Jermaine Prescott. Let me put some respect on his name, and past grandmaster Tyson Rasul Dawood. Both came on for our Young Leaders episodes, and they both did an amazing job. And I definitely want to give those two brothers shout outs, especially because one of the things that past Grandmaster Dawood talked about, which is something that I'm still fascinated by, is the fact that New Jersey has established a millennial committee. I had the chance earlier this year to kind of see that committee at work. I think back in January when I spoke at the New Jersey Lodge of Research, and they had a brother named Cameron Black, who hopefully we'll have on as a guest at a later date, who came out and actually spoke on, what is it that young people want in Prince Hall Freemasonry. And it was really nice and refreshing for someone like myself who does this kind of work on a regular basis to be able to sit back and listen to somebody who actually was, I think, maybe a year or two younger than myself, and hear somebody else talk. And he actually said a few things that that I hadn't considered or thought about as well. And so definitely want to give those brothers a shout out for all their hard work in the great state of New Jersey.
I think one of the ones that stick out for me was when we had, actually the two bays, Brother Rashid Bay, and then we had Brother Ezekiel Bay as well. Just with Brother Ezekiel Bay, just he and I go back a long time ago, where like what we're doing now was contained on email, within the Blue Light discussion group, and how a lot of us cut our chops, and like we like to say in that group, as far as just not saying, just putting anything out there, being able to back it up, with sound research, not just, it was always interesting when someone came in and just put something out there, and then, you couldn't tell someone, you couldn't put something out there and then tell someone, well, you go look it up. Like, no, you said it, you back it up, so that episode. And then with Brother Rashid Bey, just, I'd always admired his research and his scholarship. And I remember a long time ago hearing him speak on Freemasonry on a it was a podcast. It was an interview. He did an interview on a radio station that I listened to, and I wasn't on during that time, but just to hear his wisdom as well, meant a lot. To be able to capture that again, a lot of, for me at least, is again not only getting people on or presenting this information, but really just capturing this as almost like it's historic to have these conversations, and for it to be logged and hopefully accessible to a lot of people as well, in future generations. So to all of our guests that have ever appeared on the Think Tank, I'd like to, on behalf of the Think Tank, thank you for taking time to share your research and your knowledge with our viewers as well. So yeah, and I think with Brother Gillarm talked about just how you could be somewhere sitting down, and a brother that you may not have met or known, they'll come up to you because they've seen one of us on air, seeing one of the episodes or whatever. What in your opinion, like what makes the think tank popular? You know, why did it take off so fast and become so popular with the general public, in your opinion?
Well, I'll try to take a stab at it. It was interesting because I was just looking for this picture, and I'm going to post it shortly. I think I posted it before when I talked about the evolution from Joseph Waltz in the Flax Society to Ezekiel Bay to Blue Light, and then to you, Kathy, with the Prince Hall think tank. I think the Prince Hall think tank became more accessible. With the Flax Society, it was great. I mean, well, not to say was great. It is great. But some others, they realize they gotta actually have a membership to really get involved. And then it started to feel like it was a group for older men. But then you had Blue Light. Blue Light, it became a little bit more accessible. Now you still had to be vouched for and everything in order to join, but I can just send an email and I can dialogue with brothers all over. But now with the Prince Hall think tank, I can sit at home, pull this up on my computer or my TV, or I'll be on my phone. All I gotta do is have an internet connection. Now I'm getting access to all this information. I'm getting shown this documentation. Then I can and I don't even have to. We got people that watch the show, faithful watchers that aren't even Masons. So I think it's become popular because not only do we talk about something, we actually show documentation, and then a lot of times we upload our presentations or upload the documentation to our group, so brothers can get this stuff in their, they can get this stuff in their own hands and be able to read it on their own. So that's why I think it's become, it kind of took off.
I think with everything that Brother Gillam just said is absolutely correct. I also want to add in, I think, and this is not for vanity's sake, but I think also the fact that people really do get to know us. Like you said, it's accessible. So people know our personalities and likes and dislikes, what have you. Recently, I was at a Masonic meeting, and somebody said to me, they said, don't call Brother Morgan a millennial. He hates that. So little stuff like that goes a long way, I think, when we deal with people. And also, and this is, I think, credit to you, Brother Caffey, as well. I think that our core audience is very hungry for knowledge and for information, whether it be about history, Masonic symbolism, membership, service type of information. And so by us providing that, I think that we've helped people along. And also, if you don't take anything else from Brother Morgan on the Prince Hall think tank, I've always said I do not want this show to be a replacement for your lodge experience. And I don't think any of us do. This is really a supplement. We want you to take some of what we give you and take it back to your lodge, or even find and improve upon it and take it back to your lodge and help make it a better place to be, or your chapter and help make it a better place to be. That's really, I think, what the goal was, at least from my understanding of what Brother Caffey wanted us to start in the first place, and I'm just so thankful for the relationships that have been built over the past 5 years. I memean, I got folks just like the rest of you brothers, literally from all over the country that I probably would have never met otherwise. Now, oh, Brother Morgan, I hear you're in town. Can I take you out for a drink, or can I meet with you, or this and that third? Back at the last thing I'll say, back at a few weeks ago at the Imperial Session in Baltimore, Maryland, I put a $10,000 bounty out on Dave Gillarm's beard. and viewers of the think tank and I also put up where my my vending booth was at, and brothers and sisters who watch the think tank actually came up to me and were like, "Hey, I'm looking for Dave. I'm looking for Dave for you." So by the way, don't worry about it. I found him, y'all. So that bounty is, if you didn't collect on it, it's too late.
Oh man, Brother Collins.
So I think it all boils down to education. I think that's one of the reasons why the think tank has become as popular as it has. Like, a lot of people don't realize that the Prince Hall think tank was born out of the vision of past Grandmaster Corey Adams for the Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Ohio. Some people don't know you well enough to know that, like I do, Brother Daffy, and to know the way that past Grandmaster Adam felt about Masonic education, and to see in this day and age, so many years after he served as Grand Master of your Grand Lodge, now something that was born out of something that was named after him being used as such a resource or a tool for Masonic education. I believe a lot of the things that we have discussed and you guys will discuss on the think tank, a lot of people aren't getting that at home, basically. But to piggyback off of what Brother Morgan said, no, this show should not be used as a substitute for your Masonic experience. If anything, it should be an enhancement of your Masonic experience. But I think the main reason why the show has gotten as popular as it has is because of the Masonic education that you guys continue to provide to this day.
Yeah, and it's it's I think it's always been there. I mean, if you think about it, people join Freemasonry or any organization to learn about the organization, to learn about themselves and different things like that. So I think anytime that you can provide that type of outlet, people are hungry for that, and I think they appreciate it. But again, as the brother said tonight, this was never meant to be a substitute for that lodge experience, because there's nothing like getting that or hearing this information within a lodge. And I urge all of you to find ways, if you're not receiving any type of Masonic education within your lodge, to find ways to make that happen. And if you can't find ways or don't know how to find ways, to contact one of us offline so that we can talk you through it, and maybe help you, do something. We used to do a lot of workshops and different things in my lodge, and I always had the thing where I don't care, if I put a subject out and if only one brother shows up, I'm gonna go through the whole presentation. I'm not gonna shortcut it. I'm not gonna say, well, it's only one brother there, so I'm gonna put, because that it means a lot to that one brother. So you start out small, and before you know it, that one turns into two, two's into five, and you have this movement going on where you're not threatening anything, or you're teaching Masonry. And that's why after every episode, I always ended it with let's teach Masonry in our lodges, because that's what we're supposed to be doing. So yeah. So again, I think it's popular for that reason. It's just we're providing this opportunity, again, not just for us, but for other people to come on as well, and share their many talents with you. So I would, as I mentioned earlier as well, we're not just here to just talk about or discuss the greatness of the think tank, but we also are here to really, again, our first episode was focused on the significance of this day 235 years ago now, and what that charter meant to and I'm not going to say just Prince Hall Freemasonry, but what it meant to Freemasonry. I think it's something that all Freemasons should celebrate. So and I think it's a significance on a large level, and it's a significance on the Grand Lodge level. But before we got on, when we were talking about planning our planning tonight's show, Brother Morgan asked a question, and I was but then I said, wow, that's deep. He wanted to ask, like, what does that day, or what does today mean to each of us personally? And I've never really, I've always looked at it from a lodge or Grand Lodge perspective, and not necessarily as an individual member, but that's where it starts. And if it doesn't mean something to you as an individual, then maybe you need to look at some more of our shows so that you can understand the significance of that. So I'll pose Brother Morgan's question to you all. What does this day mean to you personally?
It's so deep for me, because when I was just thinking about the content of Prince Hall's letter to William Moody. And you could it's like you could almost feel his emotions. That almost seemed like a last ditch effort. I could be wrong, but he's like, I really need your help, man. Can you look out for me? And then Moody does it. And this is a man who he's never met. I don't believe they ever met face to face. So for him to do that for him, and it gets granted, I mean, it's kind of significant. Then seeing, a couple 3 years later when he receives it and the advertisement in the paper and everything, where that Prince Hall actually wrote the article and submitted it, announcing that he had received the charter. I mean, I can just imagine, like, man, it was. I mean, the excitement that he felt when this happened, and knowing that they was embarking upon something great, and he just really threw a shot in the dark and wrote a letter to somebody who he hoped would help him out. So it's a lot. It kind of shows the importance of that cable tow. Man didn't know him from Adam and Eve, but he actually vouched for him and helped him get African Lodge charter.
Brother Morgan.
I think I would say. Oh well, go ahead, brother.
Collins.
Hey, brother.
Well, no, go ahead, brother Morgan.
Hey, brother Collins, you're coming through like Darth Vader a little bit on your microphone. You may want to try dropping out and coming back in to the stream. Sorry about that. Yeah. Brother Caffey. To answer the question, I would go back to the same thing I say all the time about when I completed reading the first book on Prince Hall Masonry that I ever read, which was Black Square and Compass, way back in like 2009, somewhere in there. I got hip to that book and read it cover to cover twice, I think, and then I got Charles Wesley's Prince Hall Life and Legacy and ran through that. When I think about what today means, I'm going to try to not be scholarly and just speak from the heart. I always remember that time in my life right before I joined my lodge, and I felt as though I had learned about an inheritance that I was partly entitled to as a man of African descent in this country, that I had no knowledge of prior to that time period. And I wish I had. I should have known. I wish more people knew and understood the importance of this organization in our history, as Masons and as human beings and as a country and even around the world, because Prince Hall Masonry is not just bound to the United States, as we know. And so that really stuck with me, over the years, the fact that I do have a long, family lineage in this organization, right? Really brought home to me the importance of maintaining our institutions in our community, and taking care of our community, what that means for us as men and women who are supposed to be seeking after higher things, right? And lastly, I would say it also means the continued bond of brotherhood and sisterhood that I felt with people who I would not probably have met, and to include you three as well as Brother Ken Collins, had it not been for Prince Hall Masonry. I mean, I've met men and women who people are in awe of me, and I'm like, I don't know why. I'll be honest with you, I put my pants on, one leg at a time like everybody else. But I mean, I've met some amazing brothers and sisters on this journey, and this July 2020 will actually mark 10 years of my Masonic walk. And the fact that we trace ourselves back to one particular lodge, African Lodge 459, and to those original brothers that got this whole thing rolling, it really has become, a part of my being and a part of, and I consider all of you all extended parts of my family. I've inherited a whole bunch of brothers and sisters, aunties and uncles, and everything in between in this organization, and I'm very thankful for this experience. So, yeah.
Brother Collins.
We still talking about today's date. I had to
Yep.
drop out and come back in.
You
Okay.
sound good.
Excuse me. Okay, sound better. We all
Yep.
good. To be honest with you, this day means Freemasonry to me more than anything else. And there's another personal aspect of this date that I'll get into later. But as far as with the chartering of African Lodge number 459, that means Freemasonry to me because it's my opinion that at that time, that's when, on September 29, 1784, when they issued that charter, that was when they really started practicing what the tenets of Freemasonry teach us about Freemasonry not knowing skin color, religious creed, or anything like that. The fact that the Grand Lodge, all the way in England, decided to bestow a charter or grant a charter upon a group of black men in the colonies, and without that particular document, none of us sitting here would be Freemasons right now. Even though I'm no longer a Prince Hall Mason, I still acknowledge the fact that without that charter, I couldn't be a Freemason right now. There would still be a system of racism keeping men who look like me out of Masonic lodges if it wasn't for that charter. And on a personal note, September 29th is also my grandmother's birthday. She would have been 92 years old today. So that day means a lot to me as well. But, as far as when it comes to the craft, this day symbolizes Freemasonry to me.
Amen. Hey, brothers, I want to share something that just came in from past Grandmaster Shelton Prescott. He just sent me a message and he thanked me for giving him a shout out. But he also said that he because of the think tank's humble service and Masonic scholarship, the lens of Freemasonry has become more transparent. Much love and respect to you, brothers. So
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you. Yeah. It's I always wonder, like on days like this, like when my lodge celebrates its anniversary, like the first day we had our meeting, I always try to go back and think about what was brothers thinking about that day. Like, from the time they woke up, to the time, they sat in a meeting or what have you. It's similar to what Brother Gillarm said. I wonder, like when Prince Hall knew, or he got that notification, like what was he feeling? Did he realize the historical significance of what he done? Did he realize that, I'm not just doing this for now, but for future generations of brothers, because I think it's hard. We're so much tuned into like what's going on right now that it's hard, I think, for some of us to think about, okay, laying a foundation that I may not be able to see or may not be able to, one day realize that what I did, even if it's something simple, but yeah, it can be so profound, to write that letter and to get that and to be officially recognized, as Brother Collins said too, that's Freemasonry. It's significant, obviously to Prince Hall Freemasons, but I think it's more significant to the overall body of brothers worldwide. What happened 235 years ago today, so it's something that it's just something that you should be proud of, that and Brother Morgan hit on it. We have this shared heritage, this document links all the brothers that you see talking right now. It links the people that are in this chat room that maybe Freemasons, and it links us all, and it doesn't have anything. I know sometimes it gets a little frustrating when we're having these conversations with some folks and they look at recognition through the lens, through a twisted lens of what that really means, and I think I've grown from like having just out and out arguments to just really, trying to shed some light on it to like, that's between you and yourself. It's not this, so I'm not going to get in an argument or debate with you about the significance of it, But I think it's something that should be celebrated more, again, both within Freemasonry and outside of Masonry, because I think it's a very significant date within the history of the United States as well. So I hope that through our efforts and through other people's efforts too, that it continues to be recognized as something significant.
Absolutely.
All right. So yeah, let's we talked about a lot tonight. I do want to, in going into this fifth season, we had a meeting, a conference or a video meeting. We were trying to figure out this new platform that the Brother Morgan found for us. And we just brainstormed a few things that we want to, focus on, or just, show ideas. We're always trying to think, again, like I just said, not just thinking about now, but thinking about, okay, what do we want to feature and what do we want to talk about in future episodes? So, not giving everything away, but some of the things that we discuss, we want to definitely continue to highlight the histories of our respective Grand Lodges, that we have, so we're going to continue to have brothers on that, can present to you the history of their Grand Lodges. We could, a lot of us are versed in a lot of other Grand Lodges history. And, I guess theoretically we could, but I think it's always good to have brothers on from those Grand Lodges come on and present their history. Because I think they'll, be a little more passionate about it, and they'll show, share some nuggets that we may not even know. And that's it. It's one thing. And when I always appreciate when brothers share their history, they just don't share the regular stuff. So we've had some people come in and share some stuff where I'm like, man, I never knew that. I never knew that.
Right.
It sent me back to our proceedings to dig through, like, wow. So we want to continue to definitely highlight the histories of our Grand Lodges. We also want to do a special show on, if we can pull this off, to do a show on the Phylaxis this year. It was mentioned earlier, and James hit on it, and Dave hit on it as well. But we want to really recognize that organization and its significance, not only within the history, again, of Freemasonry, but a lot of current things that they're doing as well. So we want to give those brothers, have some people on to talk about that. We want to do some shows on continue to do some shows on some other York-Rite bodies. And I know a lot of people will be happy about this. We're going to make a special emphasis on doing giving a lot more information and doing some shows on the esoteric side of Freemasonry as well. So, be looking for those along with some other things as well that we're cooking up. All right. A couple announcements. Well, before I make the announcements, James, do we have any? I know you were posting some, and so here's the thing too, with this new platform. When we were going over this the other night, and James was telling us the cool things about it, he didn't tell us about the pop-up things that he could do and with the comments. I like that, and I'm like, it's like he reserved it as a surprise for all of us.
Right.
That's dope. I like that.
And,
just make sure you pop up the right thing, though.
Right. Well, Sister Noel says, don't forget the Phyllis Society as well.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right.
I think my favorite comment tonight came from T. James, who said James Morgan for president. I love that.
Yeah, and speaking of that, one of my it was more than one comment. I think it was several. A lot of brothers want that brother to come on to showcase his shrine collection too. So,
amen.
Yeah.
Just put that out there, good brother.
We definitely need him. And my other favorite comment from tonight is the ODB of Prince Hall Freemason.
Well, hey, I've been hard on that new Wu-Tang miniseries.
Okay,
I've been on that, so I'm in the Wu-Tang state of my eye. If you ever check that out, that out. It's nice.
Got you. Well, as long as I get to be METHOD, man.
No doubt. All right. So we'll continue to share the comments and questions. A couple of announcements that I would like to make, though, in regards to the think tank. One, Brother Ken Collins, who was there from day one, with us, providing great research on a variety of topics. You know, he's stepping down from being on air. He's doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes in a lot of different organizations, whatnot. So we're going to grant him the emeritus title. He's going to be a Prince Hall Think Tank host emeritus. You know, so we definitely wish that brother well, and I'm sure we'll see him and have him on from time to time. Well, because that brother, you know, not only did he bring the research, but he brought the passion too. So we wish that brother well. You know, we wish that brother well.
Does this mean we have to give him grand honors now?
No, but one good thing, we won't have to hear that Alabama song.
Oh Lord!
and hear about the time. right. You know
what?
So
now that you said it, I'm gonna actually miss it. Now that you said that,
that's it. Brother. So with that, you know, again, we wish Brother Collins well. You know, but we also would like to let our audience know that beginning next month, Brother Damian Jack will be joining us as a host. So, you know, we're happy to have him on. You know, many, I'm sure many of you have read his books and are you know, really appreciate and enjoy that. So we're happy to have him on beginning next month to start that you know, to start providing some of that knowledge on a monthly basis through the think tank. So welcome aboard, Brother Jack. We look forward definitely to that. All right. All right. So let's go into our closing thoughts tonight. Let's start with Brother Collins.
Well, once again, it's been a long time. It's been 3 years since I left the think tank, and I want to thank you guys for inviting me to come back in and celebrate your 5th year anniversary with you. It's definitely an honor and a pleasure. Brother Kathy, I did want to personally mention to you, piggybacking off of something that we were talking about during our pre-show segment. Actually, on the 6th of November, my lodge is going to be hosting Right Worshipful Brother Moises Gomez from the Grand Lodge of New Jersey. He's going to be doing a presentation on Freemasonry and its role in the Underground Railroad.
Wow.
This is me giving you a personal invitation to hit 71 South and come on down here to the Cincinnati area and come check it out.
Okay.
Dinner starts at 6 and the lodge will open at 7. He's actually that night we're going to start dinner at about 5:45. He's going to be doing his presentation during dinner, and then we have our annual meeting that same night. A lot of people don't know my lodge is actually the oldest continuously operating lodge in the state of Ohio, and we have the oldest lodge building in the state of Ohio. My lodge was originally chartered September 8th, 1791 as Nova Caesarea number 10 under the Grand Lodge of New Jersey, James. And we've been in continuous operation ever since. It'd be my honor to have you come. It'll be the last time that I open lodge as Worshipful Master. That's when we'll be having our annual election and all of that. But anyway, all of that aside, thank you guys once again for having me on. It's been a pleasure both participating and watching you for the last 5 years. I look forward to watching you for the next 15 to 50 years. Keep up the good work. Thank you again for having me on.
Thank you, Brother Gillarm.
Yeah, this has been an interesting 5 years. I still remember when you hit me up, Brother Kathy, and told me what you was trying to do and asked me would I participate. And I'm like, man, you know, I didn't feel like I was at that level to be able to provide that type of education. But you know, I will try my best, and here we are. A lot of people know I'm all over the place all the time. From working in New York, I'm right at this moment. I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I just came home. Well, I just came back from Fayetteville, from Phoenix City, Alabama tonight. Part of what I went to go get was these books. They have been delivered to my house. I called Brother Jeff on Friday and told him that I saw that they had been delivered to my house. I'm going home to get them, and I would come back that way I can read them for our next show. So definitely all over the place. Hey, you can pick up those books. I believe we put up links in the group on how to get them. For all three, I think it costs roughly about $30. They're awesome. For the New York brothers, October 26th is a very important date. And for the rest of you brothers, it's a very important date as well. That is the date the New York Knicks play the Boston Celtics at home. It's the season opener. I will be in the building. I will not be missing that game. So that's a very important date. You might want to put that on your calendars. The Knicks is going to do it this year. This is going to be our year. All right, that's all I got.
That's all needs to be said. Man, you know what? One day, we're gonna do a whole show on the history of the New York Knicks, and we're gonna let Brother Gillard just take over the whole show to present that.
Best show ever.
Brother Morgan.
So you're telling me that we're gonna have an irregular episode? Okay.
Not irregular, clandestine.
Yeah, all of that. Clandestine, all of that. It's gonna be all of that and then some. Just feedback on what everybody else has said, man. It's been a long journey, 5 years. I mean, honestly, when we started this, I don't even know if any of us really perceived that we'd still be doing this at this point. I can say for sure that I did not. When Brother Collins just said it had been 3 years since he has been on here. I mean, I almost didn't believe it. And I thought about it. Oh my God, I guess it has been. So I mean, I just thank you guys so much, Brother Caffey, especially because I don't know that you get the credit that you deserve for having this idea and making this possible. But I'm honestly humbled to be asked to bring light to our brothers and sisters and to outsiders as well. I think we have to make sure we remember that this is a public broadcast, right? And hopefully it's a vehicle whereby others who are not involved in Masonic organizations at all have learned some true information about who we are and what it is that we do. I guess I'll end off with the only way I know how to at this type of moment, which is with a quote, which is a quote from Prince Hall, which always resonates with me, where he said, "Give the right hand of affection and fellowship to whom it justly belongs." And I'm happy to say that you brothers, as well as Brother Black, Brother Ken Collins, and all our guests are loyal supporters. We could not do this show without our loyal supporters, especially our regulars. I'm happy that you all found me worthy to extend the right hand of fellowship and friendship and to me. And, I'm just thankful. Thankful.
Thank you, good brother. Thanks, brothers. It's as many of us have said tonight, as James just said it, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our viewers. I love you guys, the comments, the emails, texts, different things, just letting us know that what we're doing is being well received. So thank you. Kind words, it goes a long way. Thoughtful suggestions, and the continued support. 5 years ago, I honestly, I just wanted to do a short show recognizing the importance of the date. And it wasn't until afterwards that, when we started getting a lot of great feedback, that we said, you know what, let's do this again. And then again, turned and again. And then 5 years later, we're here. And so I thank the brothers for, answering the direct message saying, hey, would you like to participate in this and see where we go from there? So, because they could have easily said, nah, and you just would have heard from me probably once, and then it would have been the end of it. So thank you, brothers, for saying yes. Thank you, Brother Collins, for coming on and providing that great wisdom. Thank you to Brother Black. Thank you, Brother Ken Collins, for everything that he's done as well.
Hey, Brother Caff,
it means a lot.
Brother Caff, I just thought about something. Is this the first time you and Brother Collins have been on at the same time?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, because when Brother Collins came on, I was let's say I was away.
Right.
Sabbatical. right. But he came in and just killed it. So I was you know, between him and Brother Black. I was like, oh, I hope the brothers allow me to come back, you know, once
Right.
you all not only, and I think I've said this before, you know, it wasn't just maintaining. You brothers took it to another level, you know, to something that I couldn't even thought of. And that's why it's important to get with like-minded people in the craft. Even if you're in your lodge and it's only just one other brother or, you know, one other sister, if you get with someone that's like-minded, then you could take that and that energy builds. And before you know it, you can create something beautiful. And that's what that's what you brothers did when, you know, you took an idea I had and just took it to a whole nother level. So again, thank you for that. You know, thank you for remembering this day. Thank you for joining us on this important day. As always, you know, as we close out, you know, again, let us remember that 235 years ago tonight, Prince Hall and the other brothers were constituted a regular lodge of free and accepted Masons with all the rights that afforded that designation. So, you know, we continue to endeavor to try to bring some type of recognition of that history and the history of those brothers and the history that they produced, that again, they may not have known about or known that it would still be around, you know, this many years later. You know, we're talking about, you know, the Prince Hall think tank being around for 5 years. You know, think about, you know, the Prince Hall and the other brothers did. And to this day, you know, it's still standing strong. So thank you for that. Thanks for joining us tonight. We hope you've gained a little insight. And we hope you join us for future episodes of the Prince Hall Think Tank. As always, have a good evening. And remember, let's teach masonry in our lodges. Have a good evening.